there's a peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine. How do you like that? It's a peace agreement. And we certainly hope it lasts a long time, now that Russia has conquered about half of Georgia, all the Crimea, and a little chunk of the Ukraine, and is poised to do more. I guess the president of Estonia is a nut, too. He must be a neocon. He's complaining about threats being made to his country right on the border. Must be a neocon. Poland's worried. More neocons. Right? Just a figment of our imagination. And, of course, we're provoking Putin. Let me get this straight. Neville Chamberlain, a.k.a. Barack Milhouse Hussein Obama, is provoking Putin by doing what? Is he selling arms to somebody? Is he putting defensive missile systems somewhere? And he's provoking Putin by doing what? He's unilaterally degrading our nuclear forces. He's unilaterally degrading our Navy, our Air Force, our Army, our Marines, our Coast Guard. This is provoking Putin, huh? No. What it is doing is showing Putin that Obama is weak, and so Putin's on the move. China's on the move. The Islamo-Nazis are on the move. Everybody's on the move. As I've discussed before, our country's not weak, our president's weak. But he's the commander-in-chief. Or in his case, the surrenderer-in-chief. And the world sees it. And the fascists see it, the communists see it, and the Islamo-Nazis see it. And every damn one of them's on the move as a result. Now, I put a proposal out there that affects both war and immigration. And I put the proposal out there some time ago, and I said that if an American citizen leaves this country and joins up with the Islamo-Nazis or some other foreign force that is a threat to this country, then by their actions, as a matter of federal law, their citizenship should be repudiated, should be lost. And that the civilian courts in this country, because you know the ACLU and Eric Holder's former law firm, will immediately seek to represent these people, because that's what they do. They're not part of the Ferguson police force, you see. That we should set up a process, a military process, as we do during times of war, with a military tribunal based in Guantanamo Bay, the one free part of Cuba, free because we control it, where a military tribunal will hear the case of the Islamo-Nazi former American citizen who's joined the enemy. And their decision will be final, unappealable, and that will be that. It appears that Senator Cruz and his office have put together a similar proposal. I don't know the particulars, but I saw a press release. Also, our friend Michelle Bachmann, wonderful patriot, in the House of Representatives is working on legislation as well. This must be done. This must be done to ensure that they cannot come back into the United States. Even though I believe under current law we could interpret it that way, the problem is the interpretation will be left to these activists, judges in civilian courts, and they should have no jurisdiction whatsoever, and Congress has the power to ensure that they don't have any jurisdiction whatsoever under our Constitution. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
It's a pleasure to have Congressman Michelle Bachmann. Michelle, how are you, my friend? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, but it's so great to talk to you, and especially about this topic tonight.
And the topic tonight is, why should we let people who leave this country as American citizens come back as American citizens when they've joined the enemy?
Well, that's right. It doesn't make any sense at all, and so we want to clarify that. And so I put legislation together to do exactly that. It's really amending the current code that we have at Section 349A. And all my bill does, very simply, it's about denaturalization and passport revocation. And what I would do is include memberships or affiliations with foreign terrorist organizations as grounds for denaturalization. And I'll tell you, the reason why I did that is because I sit on the Intelligence Committee. We have watched the rise of ISIS for a very long time. Remember, President Obama had the leader of the Islamic State in prison in Camp Bucca in Iraq. He let the leader out in 2009. The leader said, "I'll see you in New York." Then he began reconstituting his army ever since 2009. We've watched the rise. And in Minnesota, where I'm from, we have a very long connection with Islamic terrorism. And so this summer, as we saw the Islamic State rise, I went to the FBI and in a classified setting in Washington, and I asked the FBI, could you please tell me about whether there are confirmed Minnesotans who have joined with ISIS? They told me, at that time it was classified, it no longer is. They told me that, yes, there are Minnesotans and there are American citizens. They told me the number. It's now open source documents that there are 15 to 20 Americans who have joined with ISIS. And I asked them if once they depart and they return to the United States, will they be stopped from reentering? And they said they cannot be stopped. And I said, why not? They've renounced their American citizenship when they join up to fight on behalf of a foreign terror organization that's declared war against the United States. And they said they can't. They don't have the authority. So I went back to my office and I told my staff, this was earlier this summer.
Can I stop you a second, Congressman?
Yeah, go ahead.
They say they can't because, why? The statute is narrow and limited to armies and that sort of thing?
Well, Section 3, I believe Section 329A would give the ability to be able to stop them from coming in, but it may possibly be that with our Department of Justice, they wouldn't interpret it that way. And so I want to make it crystal clear that if a person is either affiliated with or has a membership with a foreign terrorist organization... And that
language is not in existing statutory language. That's why you want to add it.
That's right. It's not in Section 349A today, and I want to put it into every single part of this code so that whether it's dealing with armies or whether it's dealing with just joining the organization, each part of the code I want to add memberships or affiliations with foreign terrorist
So what could possibly be the objection to this?
I don't think there could be. I don't know how the president could object to this, or Harry Reid, or Eric Holder. I don't know how anyone could possibly object to this. Especially, I took a trip earlier this summer to our southern border, and I talked to our Border Patrol, and it's very clear to me. I watched illegal immigrants come into the United States. I watched it happen, and it's clear to me that with the Islamic State saying in no uncertain terms that they intend to attack us, that they will try to do that. And I left. I spent 4 days on the southern border, and I was more determined than ever that we have to close that border because of what this will mean to our people.
All right, now as far as this legislation goes, is it written and ready to go?
Oh, yeah, it's written and it's ready to go. Now, we've been out on district work period for about 5 weeks now. We go back on Monday. I'll be actually dropping the legislation on Monday, and I understand that Senator Cruz has something that's very similar. And so my request to my colleagues will be that this legislation be fast-tracked. We know that we have a danger. In fact, the leader of ISIS said in a speech not long ago, he said, quote, "Soon we'll be in direct confrontation, so watch out for us, for we are with you, watching." One thing that they are is very clear about what their intentions are. And from Minnesota, we had the first 2 Americans who fought on behalf of ISIS were from the Minnesota area. Yesterday, we just had a 19-year-old Somali woman leave St. Paul, Minnesota, to go and fight with ISIS. I don't want these people coming back into the United States.
No.
They have renounced the United States. They're traitors, and their passport should be revoked, and their citizen should be.
All right, let me ask you a question. You say I will drop the legislation on Monday. What does that mean?
Okay, what that means is that I will begin the process. It will become a bill at the moment that I enter the legislation. I'll physically walk into the House chamber on Monday, and I will physically put my bill in the basket. It will be assigned a number, and I can give you what that bill number is, and then at that point I will ask all of my colleagues to sign up on the list.
All right, let me ask you, now, we only have a minute. So who determines that if this is moved quickly or not?
John Boehner.
John Boehner. What about McCarthy?
Sure. The Speaker of the House and the Majority Leader, they will make that decision about whether or not they'll move this, and I will ask them to fast-track this legislation.
Would you also tell them, because I'm sure they're huge fans of mine, of course, I am personally monitoring this. This is hugely important as far as I'm concerned to protect this nation.
Yes, it's one thing that we can do.
Michelle Bachmann, you're a great patriot. You've taken a lot of hell as a result of it. You've been way ahead of the curve. I want to thank you for helping to keep this country safe. I know you're retiring. I want to have you back before you do. God bless you. That's the wonderful Michelle Bachmann. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin doesn't just read the news, he makes the news. Call the Mark Levin Show now at 877-381-3811.
Just a reminder, this is the last weekend that you can pre-order a copy of Malice Toward None, Abraham Lincoln, his second inaugural address by my father, Jack Levin. It's presently 37% off, discounted by Amazon.com. So I've explained before, Amazon does this in